Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of January 24th. I'm Ryan Miller, and Cat's Eye himself, Matt Amberg.
Hi!
Your eyes look normal from here.
Yeah, but you can't see them from here or there.
On Book Club for Movies, where we watch one movie a week. And if you're in the know, you've done it too, and then you can converse with us on Facebook or Twitter or emails, podcast at bookclubformovies.com or Patreon, where we hope to continue to do this for the people that enjoy it. This week, we are doing Cat's Eye. Matt, I've heard there was an issue with the synopsis, but I feel like you have it ironed out at this point-ish.
Oh, wow. There's going to be one. Here we go.
All right.
Cat's Eye coming at you, an hour and 34 minutes, written by Stephen King, directed by Louis Teague, starring Drew Barrymore, James Woods, Alan King, Kenneth McMillan, Robert Hayes, Candy Clark, and James Naughton. Here is your Book Club for Movies synopsis for Cat's Eye. Cats. They all have tales to tell.
Was that? You did work out all the kinks. I take it all back. All right. Matt, you're going to lead the discussion on this one because I get the feeling, or maybe I just know because you've told me, this is an old classic. This is the VHS tape that you wore out as a child. I feel like we all have one of those. This is the movie that defines you as a human being. It might stop me if no, too far.
You've gone way too far.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But that is true. I did rent this movie from the video store to the point where I wore. This was one of the great many I would wear out as a child from the video store.
Great many.
And funny enough, the whole movie was predicated on something that, number one, I had no idea about the movie when I saw it. Like, I didn't know what it was.
Sure.
I'd only ever seen, I saw the cover, so I knew that on the cover, if you look up the old poster, you'll see the little goblin guy with the cat and Drew Barrymore, all that.
Yeah, just the goblin guy and the cat that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, and also just that. So I was like totally into whatever the hell was going on there, Goblin Man. Like, why wouldn't I? But it just became like a running joke. The movie became kind of a running joke between my friends because of course, we're going to spoil this movie, and I'm going to spoil it right now. There's no way to spoil this. When the when the goblin gets killed, it was, for whatever reason, that was such a topic of discussion for us for like an entire summer.
For whatever reason. It's like maybe the best moment in the film.
We were talking about how it looked like baked beans, but then some of us were like, it doesn't look like baked beans, but it does kind of look like those weird little wiggly noodles. Like, no, man, it's beans. It looks like baked beans. It's like those barbecue baked beans. No. It's
5 years later, you've all gone your separate ways.
Yeah, it didn't end well. Okay. Friendships were made and broken that summer over Cat's Eye.
And the one of you that died did look a little like baked beans, and it kind of just
because we threw him in a fan. Yeah, so it was just one of these weird things that I really, really loved every story in the movie for whatever reason it was. It was just they were all highly entertaining to me, and probably because it was a movie filled with short stories, but also everybody in this movie I had seen somewhere else. So I was like, oh, that's the person from this. So it also had like a whole bunch of reference for me, like when Kenneth McMillan shows up in The Ledge in the second story, it's Baron Harkonnen, not Harkonnen. It's only Harkonnen if you're watching the Den Even Know one. But if you're watching David Lynch, it's Harkonnen. Get your Dune right, and then we'll start seeing how you're doing. So that was cool. And then I'm like, oh, but that's the guy from Airplane. That's funny. And then, James Woods. Well, that's James Woods. even as a kid, I was like, he doesn't seem right.
I have a fair amount of well, okay, I don't have a fair amount of James Woods notes, but many of them do end with a James Woods punchline. So okay, all right, well,
yeah. So that's
all
just
good to
kind
know.
of and then of course Drew Barrymore was a little bit older than I was, or she still is, in fact.
But it could still happen.
Yes, I still have the dreams, and that she can be my girlfriend. I always liked Drew Barrymore. Like I grew up watching Drew Barrymore movies. I always liked her. So this was a movie that, and then first, the one thing that I haven't even mentioned really is that the major draw for me was Stephen King. I knew the name, I knew stories of and by, and had read some, and I Creepshow had already happened for me, so I was well into my Stephen King era at this point.
Right. In fact, perfect segue, because speaking of Creepshow, I watched the trailer to this Cat's Eye because I showed it to my daughter and my wife to be like, hey, you guys want to watch this with me, or do I have to go in the other room? And
and they were like, ugh.
And when we watched the trailer, they were fine with it. But in that trailer, it says Stephen King's first screenplay or something like that. And at the time, I thought, oh, is that what the draw was? But something didn't feel right about it. We've done Creepshow. We've watched Creepshow. Creepshow was his first screenplay, even though he didn't write the whole of Creepshow. He just did that segment, right?
I think that's what this is, where he wrote. So the first two stories are based on previously written short stories.
Correct. Adaptations from Night Shift.
Yep. Quitters, Inc. and The Ledge. And then the third one he wrote specifically for the movie, which I don't know what the title of that one is. I always just...
General.
Is it General? I always just called
General.
it Baked Beans. So
I mean, the titles never show up anywhere. It's just, what I've gathered by what little I have read on this, because I thought there was going to be a little bit more. I thought maybe this would have entered kind of cult status where people go and figure stuff out, but not
I don't think
necessarily. No, not that says anything about it, I think, but I think there's maybe just less, or it will open things up for us to kind of go with what you've been talking about, stick with our personal experiences, because this is going to be one of those more difficult for me shows, because you're coming at it with the power of nostalgia, and I had never heard of this before you made the joke about it on whatever other show that was. So this is all going to be new for me. I'm going to watch it with the bad movie eyes that I've been given after film school and all of these years doing this show, and you're gonna be able to help me through it a little bit.
Oh God, this is one where I don't know that I can. Again, I like the movie. I can't maintain that it's a good movie. Like, Beth had never watched it. Okay, so when she sat down and we finished it, she went, "Oh, that was pretty entertaining." Which, by the way, I want to mention, we did that with. It's totally unrelated to this in every respect, but it's related to pre-show convo. She rolled in about 5 minutes into me watching the Carl Urban Dwayne Rock Doom. Sat down, fully engrossed in it, and at the end of it, I went, "Yeah, people don't really like that movie. I like that movie." She goes, "That was really fun. Why don't people like that?"
I don't even know what to say about it, because I feel like last time I tried to watch it, you were like, ugh. And then next I know you were watching it, and I'm like, what's it? But then now Beth likes it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this was all just a trick to get me not to watch it.
It's a bad movie. I love it. But it's a bad
okay.
movie. Yeah. I mean, the Dwayne is pretty funny. And it's just, but it's great. I love it. The main issue.
We'll do that next week.
Hold on, we're gonna do Doom right now. The main issue with the Doom movie is that they totally screw with the general story of it, not the general from Cat's Eye. But we'll get there. It's gonna dovetail. See,
good.
In the Doom movie, instead of it just being hell happens on Mars, it's genetic stuff, and that's stupid.
Yeah, I feel like that's everybody's argument with that, is that it messed with the action. It's not as doomy as everybody wanted it to be,
No.
minus the first person section.
Which is rad. It still holds up as being awesome because there is a bunch of practical effects in that movie, which make it cool. Here's the other thing about the Dwayne. Watch that movie and then look at any picture of him now and say to yourself, man, HGH does do wonders. He is so much more jacked now than he was back then, which was like practically the peak of his like wrestling career.
He was never this couldn't go farther. For somebody who doesn't know wrestling, he never was like one of the more jacked wrestlers.
He
to me.
wasn't.
He's just a big dude, right? Yeah,
he was. Yeah, I mean, he had a good, like, he had a good build, but he was not.
No, he's very
like,
sexy. Yeah,
yeah, but he wasn't like Ultimate Warrior ripped or anything. But he is now. Like now, he is just tore up. The dude does not even look the same. So here's why. When we talk about James Woods, this is all again. It's going to dovetail. There's a guy in Doom that looks like James Woods. His name is Richard Brake. He's not as a douche as the James Woods.
Who does? Oh, Richard Brake is in Doom.
Doom. Yeah.
Okay.
James Woods, though. Let's talk about James Woods for a moment.
Okay. Should we do a disclaimer up front?
No.
Yeah, it
is.
Yeah, I feel like he also always played scummy characters.
No,
so it was
100%. There is not a movie where James Woods was the good guy where he still wasn't a scummy piece of trash. Okay,
so
that's that.
Okay, well, there's the disclaimer. There you go.
So I love Quitters Inc. The story
at the first
story.
With
starring James Woods. It's also got Alan King in it, and who is there's somebody else that's like the bodyguard, and I'm trying to remember who it is.
I mean, I have the cast list here, but I don't really.
Mike Starr. If you look him up, you'll know.
You'll sure. There you go. Mike Starr. Pills are good.
Pills are good.
Pills
yes,
are good.
That's right. He does. He's got angina.
That's just that is his movie to me. Yes, that was probably the first time I saw him, but yes, ever since it's been there's the guy from Dumb and Dumber.
Yes,
so,
there's Pills Are Good.
And if actually he's I think his name is Ducky.
Yes,
in this one.
So he looks nothing like
James Woods.
True, but he also looks nothing like John Cryer. So there's that.
True.
So Quitters Inc. is basically the cautionary tale of don't
smoke.
Don't smoke. Well, it's not just that. It's the cautionary tale of don't take things in excess, right? James Woods is given a phone number to a business that can help him stop smoking. His wife really wants him to quit, so he's going to quit. And it goes off the rails quick.
It's very obviously run by the mob. I mean, or ex-mob. They refer to their business beforehand, having given them a leg up on, how to run this current business of how to stop smoking. So yes, basically it is stop smoking or we'll hurt your family. So,
and it's great. It starts with they show that they've got like this this room in their building, in the main guy's office that has it's just electrified. They show that's where the cat first comes in. They toss the cat in there.
They do, and that's I don't think the floor is actually electrified, but I'm pretty sure there's like sparks or zaps going off.
Yeah.
And they pretty much really put the cat through that. If you have any, this was the hardest moment for my wife and kid to watch, by the way.
Yeah, nobody likes seeing that.
That cat was not happy.
Yeah.
In there,
so he's like, you do if we catch you smoking the first time, we're gonna put your wife in there. And then the second time, it's we're gonna go to your house or something, and then and it gets brutal. Like he's like, after like the third time, they rape your wife and they're gonna beat your kids, and then
they do drop that too. I feel like that was I was like, oh.
And then he's like,
how much farther are we gonna go here?
And then he says, nobody's ever gone past this point, X point, whatever. So the rest of the movie is is the rest of this segment is dropping hints about how far they actually will go. James Woods not necessarily believing them, trying to hide cigarettes. That moment, I gotta say though, again, I love the segment. I think that the idea behind it is really, really interesting. And the moment where he's thinking about smoking at the first night, he gets up and he realizes there's somebody in the closet. And he's
Right.
like, okay, I don't know. I was, and then he checks the next morning and it's soaked in there from where the rainy guy was.
Because you never see, because also this movie is kind of a horror movie, or it certainly would appear in that section of the VHS store or whatever.
It did. Yes.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily that creepy, except for James Woods.
Boom.
But it's also not really tense, because I feel like it's PG-13, right? So it's not going to be maybe what we actually want, but also I'm not sure that it's a very tensely filmed PG-13 quote unquote horror movie, you know? So some of that was a little bit lost on me. I think this was my least favorite of the three, but I wouldn't say I hated it, but also by the time, those things weren't working, it's not tense, it's not this, it's not that, there wasn't a ton left except the party scene, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I love the party.
Because you're right, the way they're enforcing him not smoking is by sending goons out to kind of keep an eye on him and always be watching him and stuff like that. At the which point he goes to a party where, number one, James Reborn is there as a drunk businessman, is his actual credit.
The businessman.
And he does a great job. But also it's where they begin to play the cover of Every Move You Make.
Every Breath You
Take. I'll be watching you.
You will be.
One of those lines is the actual title of the song.
It's Every Breath You Take.
And it gets all weird, and there's like some actual cinematic things going on there.
The only time in the movie we see anything unique like that, by the way.
Right, yes. So that maybe made it all worth it, but other than that, it was just kind of like, okay, I get it. Like it, at its worst, it was like, this seems like a bit like, like what if you got to quit smoking by the mob or something like that. And at best, it is at least well acted and joked around about up until the end where, it's the girl who's already gone. Oh, no, the guy who's already gone through it. And it ends very abruptly. It almost, I'm trying to think, there was like a fake ending for a second, but then they're making a toast and the wife of the guy is missing a finger.
It totally has the false ending. But I love that. I love that moment though.
It's good.
Again, because I think that conceptually, I think that is a very cool idea. Again, you're right. Like the execution on it's a little funky. However, I could tell you, like, this is something that, it has enough legs that if King wanted to redo this or somebody wanted to redo it, I could see it. And actually, I think it was redone potentially as a full feature at one point called Quitters Inc. But
really?
It's a cool story. I really like the idea. And if you've never read Night Shift, go read Night Shift. It's all short stories. It's pretty good. Not his best, but certainly not his worst.
Sure. Yeah, and then this isn't like I'm doing that thing I said I would do. So at least I told you.
This is like this movie is this movie is just a low end kind of fun chill movie.
It is. That is it. That's why none of what I say should matter really, because it is also slower. It's not really sharp. It's not edited so well that again it's tense or even. It kind of drags. Maybe taking a drag. So yes.
So that the cat gets away, of course, and then runs off and is picked up by Baron Harkonnen outside of a I don't know, like a casino or something.
Yep.
He goes home. Some guy owes him a bunch of money, and he gives him a good deal and says, "Hey, you can go around the entire building on this ledge. You don't owe me anything." And this guy goes, "Well, I guess I'll do that instead of dying.
And you can keep my wife." Yeah, this is Robert Hayes'
That's right. I always forget about the wife because that's kind of what drives him to the end. But yes,
that's what gives it some heart. At least it's not just about the money. But yeah, he kisses her goodbye in the beginning, and honestly, it just kind of breaks your heart that it's not Julie Haggerty, anyways. So
it 100%, right? Like, how great would that have been for that to have been Julie Haggerty? It would have been great, I think.
Always say that.
Yeah, I'm consistently like, why not Julie Haggerty though? You know, they're like, hey, it's Hannah Montana. I'm like, okay, but why not Julie Haggerty as Hannah Montana?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Like, don't change anything. Don't acknowledge her age. Just let her be Hannah Montana.
Don't acknowledge her agelessness. Is that what?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. This is the one where he shows up, and yes, if he walks around the ledge, he gets the guy's wife and all of the money. And this I liked a lot more. I think it was tense, actually, too.
This is a cool story. Really fun again, yes. And I actually really like the way that most of it was filmed. It does have a good tensacity.
It might have that, too.
I don't know. It's a good one, though. I like the interaction between the two of them as he's going around the edge and getting progressively, like, they're both getting progressively more frustrated with each other. As he's trying to survive and stay on the ledge while Kenneth McMillan is trying to make him fall without directly making him fall.
Just keeping you on your toes.
Just keeping you on your toes.
As he does a fire hose at him at one point, and then what's the other thing he does? I don't know. All of the things he did were kind of just like funny or annoying. When that pigeon shows up, dude, I am in it. Let me tell you.
The pigeon, like especially because it's like pecking and keeps coming back, and the little blood
just keeps pecking him like at that bone on your foot until it starts to bleed a little bit. Oh man, that was good stuff.
And when he kicks the one time, you go, oh, don't do it, don't do it. Super great though,
but then it comes back when he takes a breather, and they let you have the bit where he just boots it into a ball of feathers,
which is great because it
doesn't kill it though. He comes back later.
The camera does kind of pan out, so you just see a and then of feathers.
Poof. Yeah, it's good. No, that was a good one. I liked it.
Super great. And then the cat once again gets away from the gambler who, again, Kenneth McMillan. And
but sorry, because the cat definitely links these all together, but it's also not like a quick thing. It's not like the cat runs out and then he goes to the next scene. There's like a 10-minute transition piece between each one. Like the first one, yes, he runs to the dude in front of a casino, but there's like a 10-minute exchange with some guy we never see again and his girlfriend, who's like, if the cat gets back across the street without dying, I'll give you however much money. Like they make a bet, and then
well, I think, but that's supposed to.
It.
But he makes that bet with Kenneth McMillan. He ends up making that bet with, so it doesn't matter. It's just he does. He makes the bet with Baron Harkonnen.
Oh, I thought. Okay. See, I haven't seen the David Lynch Dune, so I thought the dude had the apartment with the ledge was Baron Harkonnen.
He was. And the guy who's talking about the cat bets him, and that's when the cat comes across the street, he gets him and then takes him home.
Yes. I meant the other guy that we never see again is the guy that we never see again.
Yeah, but he's just there to prove out that this guy is a gambler.
I know. I'm just saying these are like 10-minute interstitials. It's not like as easy, and I'm not even sure. I guess whatever. It's
that one I'm not going to give you. I'll give you the first. I'll give you like the initial thing with the cat, but that one I won't give you because that one is straight up explaining who that guy is and the fact that he's willing to bet on anything and life itself. That's, I think useful. We don't need the other guy. He's just another. Oh
yeah, sure. I'm more on about the length, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, they could have just had him come out and be like, "Hey, we'll bet the cat," and then the cat gets killed, and that's the end of the movie. Would have been faster.
You're right. It would have been a shorter movie.
Yeah, would have been cats. That's why it's only one cat's eye, not two. But then 10 minutes later, we're brought to General showing up. He just like pops up.
The cat's name is General, by the way. Did we mention that?
That's what we're saying. That's what we're claiming because that's what Drew Barrymore calls it. Cat shows up. Whatever. Drew Barrymore basically the final story is Drew Barrymore is very young. Obviously she's 10, 8, I don't know. what kids look like when they age.
And yeah, it's impossible. The other day I thought I was in a picture of myself like 12. Turns out I was like 8. So
turns out I was 32. Like this has been rough for a while. So she is concerned about this monster in her room that's trying to get her, and her parents, of course, don't believe her. She ends up getting, they end up having the cat. The mom is very much you can't have this cat. And the dad's like, well, we can have the cat. And then they're like, no, yes. And then the cat comes in, and then there's the goblin. Then the cat gets taken away, and then the goblin comes back, and the cat breaks out to come save her. Because throughout this movie, by the way, every time there is one of these interstitials, the cat sees an image of Drew Barrymore saying, find me. For some reason. I mean, obviously the reason being the goblin, but...
I'll tell you why I didn't mind that, actually, because I think quite possibly some of the best acting in the movie comes from the cat. Like, they got some real good animal acting in with this cat. Because, yes, obviously it's tricks and whatnot. But, yeah, he does see Drew Barrymore as in a mannequin and then in a TV being like, come help me, save me. Even though... when he gets to supposedly this version of Drew Barrymore at the end for the third movie, she's not like, you found me. Like, she's not cognizant of having messaged him in this way at all anyways. But I don't know, maybe dreams or something. But also Drew Barrymore plays the first guy's daughter in the first movie. So I was a little confused. But
she has but she has glasses on.
She does. You're right. That was my fault. In fact, what was your read on that daughter? Because my wife was almost out because she thought that daughter was special needs.
Yep.
Okay, you're shaking your head.
100%.
Wow, that went over my head. That tells you. Between the ages of 8 and 12 and special needs, no idea. I have a special needs son, so this is an issue for me.
Actually, it's the one thing Beth specifically called out too. She went, boy, Ryan's going to love this one.
I apparently, didn't even register, so... In any event, the way that the cat is kind of led toward, like, he's just about the protagonist of the film, because also he's given a sentience. Sure. Like he knows to go and rescue Drew Barrymore. Like, he's obviously on a mission, so I actually dug that a lot, even though it wasn't all that explained, but
it's just funny. Like, the whole thing is just kind of funny. Like, it has the way they filmed it, the whole, here's a mannequin, now here's the 80s floating head over the mannequin, where for whatever reason, whenever they filmed those, they never told the actor or to stand still, or they did it handheld so that you have this still picture around it, and then they're doing this. Find me, General. Like, why? Just tell her to stand still, and then it's gonna fit. It'll look great. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance they didn't have this whole thing planned out. Let's put it that way. In fact, if this show feels loosey-goosey, not even just that we talked about Doom for the first 30 minutes or whatever it was, it's because the movie, I feel like, is also fairly loosey-goosey. Like, there's references in this movie, not just to Stephen King's work, which there's a ton of those, like
Christine and Cujo right off the bat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, Cujo comes before the Christine car drives off, which is that I've never seen Christine. I'm sorry, but is that the type of car that Christine?
Yeah,
it's
a Plymouth Fury.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure.
It was absolutely Christine.
So that drives by. Also, the weirdest reference I found was during the second where the Baron Harkonnen tells Johnny Norris, Robert Hayes' character, that if he completes the ledge walk, he will get, quote, the girl, the gold watch, everything, which is actually a movie, the title of a movie that Hayes was in 1980. So, I find it hard to believe that was written into the script. So I feel like they're playing fast and loose with who knows what while they're making this as well.
Good. I mean, who knows? Probably.
It's fine. It works. It is what it is.
The last story, though, I love it a lot because it does have, we get a bunch of close-ups of the goblin where they clearly did full makeup, and they did animatronics for the goblin's face.
Carlo Rambaldi. is the name of the dude.
The animatronics look great. The character, I love that look. Like the look of that character, I think is super great, super unique and fun with the jester bells. And I love his knife, the weird little squiggly
dagger. Yep.
Squiggly dagger is cool. The way that the door opens up, so it looks like a mouse hole, in the wall, like that was cool. Yeah. And that similar to right after we watched this, I mentioned to Beth that I loved that they built the giant the oversized set so that he was crawling up things that looked like her.
Very obviously. Yep.
And we went back and I had told her, I had mentioned, man, this reminds me of when they the behind the scenes on the movie The Gate, when there's whole sequence in The Gate. Right. Where the dude falls down, and how they filmed it, and then they did with all the bigger stuff and where the people were standing. And I love that perspective stuff. That's always super fun.
Back when they kind of had to do that, especially for lower budget productions, but also wanted to, I feel like made it look better. Yeah, no, I totally. In fact, for that reason, I'd say the third is probably my favorite as well. Like all that stuff, decent creeps, decent tension,
Baked beans.
It's all really there. Yeah. Yes. And I do have, okay, that's an ending, because
oh yeah,
the little goblin dude comes out of the wall and the cat is in a mad dash. The cat gets picked up. The mom takes it to the animal shelter. So he's about to get executed even, but he escapes. So he's making a mad dash back to the house while the goblin is...
I love that you referred to euthanasia as executed, which, I mean, yes, it is.
Did I?
But but I love it. Sorry, continue.
Well, I think that's part of why I like the cat, is because I am identifying with him as a protagonist more than just, an animal running from place to place, or even attaching the films or whatever. But
who took you to the vet to try and put you down?
That's what I'm saying. I identify with the human side of the animal here.
He is the general. Go to the general and save some time.
With the general, because as he's making his mad dash back, the goblin comes out and is about to. In fact, I love. They also have some really cool compositing going on, where when the goblin, because there's. In fact, I've heard this before. I don't think this is just a King thing. But there's, I don't know if it's just cats either, but there's this myth or legend about stealing your breath while you sleep thing.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's the grandma that says cats do that. And in this movie also, it's literally the goblin that does it. But he'll get up on Drew Barrymore's chest and then... Never quite. I get the feeling that the idea was in conjunction. He would plug her nose so he could steal her breath. They never quite do it at the same time, but still, it's really creepy when he gets up on her chest and just slowly reaches his hand out, again with some sort of compositing, and and with his tiny fist closes, Drew Barrymore's nose. It's pretty good.
It looks pretty good, and then the combination of the compositing of those shots along with the things they use, there's the double sheet, so he's clearly standing on a giant sheet, and then she's got the under sheet underneath the comforter. He's standing on the comforter, she's got the under sheet, and they've got it filmed in just the way that he pulls them back, and it looks it's super cool. I love it.
Oh, and then I guess I was headed towards the fact that when the cat shows up, there's a battle that ensues, and the goblin ends up on a record player that the cat turns in, Drew Barrymore is giving directions to the cat from across the room, turn up the speed, so the cat will reach over and turn the speed up on the record. I love
that the cat turns the freaking dial.
It's great. Does it 3 times? Yeah, turns it on and then speeds up twice, and it is of course also again every breath you take, whatever.
Yeah.
And it spins so fast that the goblin flies off the record player into the fan. A la baked beans,
turning into baked beans.
So, I get the feeling you were on the baked beans side of things with your friends. Is that what
no, it looked like baked beans, man.
Okay, what was the other option?
One of them thought that it looked like the weird. There's this curvy wavy pasta that when it's
that's right.
That's I
Dude,
feel
no way. Are you kidding? That's baked beans. Tell that. Are you even friends with that guy anymore?
No.
Loser.
Yeah. I told you, friendships were broken that day. What is wrong with you?
But yes, great ending to that little bit. And I also like that they bring the parents in after the fact, and instead of the parents just like never believing, like they actually see his little severed hand.
Yeah.
And pick it up and look at.
So I do have two questions about that particular sequence,
Sure.
though.
Okay.
Number one, is it just me, or does the mom just seem so aggressively like just no
Unwilling to believe in goblins? Yeah.
unwilling to believe in any like that? Like she just seems like there was never a chance for her to be like a good person or something like that. She just seems
unwilling to believe in cats also, actually. Yeah.
She's just mean. She's just kind of mean, right? But
Sure.
okay, here's my other question though. And this one is legitimate.
Wait, that was I spended a lot of energy to agree with you on that last one.
Okay. This one's also legitimate.
All right.
Why does Drew Barrymore just sit in her bed and yell at the cat to turn it up faster? You know, you've got feet. You ain't broken. Nothing's stopping you from getting up and doing any number of things to this. All you got to do you have a paper, a waste basket? Like, guess what I got, Mom?
He's got a little dagger. Shred that waste paper basket. Are you kidding? They find a little dagger at the end too. He like holds it up like
he's like, what is this?
Just that he has a little dagger too. He's not like. I do love that they went. Maybe this is what you were talking about. I do love that they went all the way with that creature too. It wasn't just like he was a thing that lives in the wall, or you just see his faces, or whatever. He has like a culture. You know, like he fashions his own weapons. It's pretty great.
I love goblin culture. Stephen King created goblin culture, and I'm for it.
So yeah, what does it mean that the one? Are you saying you enjoy the third one the most as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, what does it mean that the one we enjoy the most is the one he actually wrote and not adapted?
I think it's pretty standard.
Does that happen? I guess I was trying to think about that too. Like, what kind of track record do his adaptations have, generally speaking? Because, I mean...
This is a great question.
Well, most of his things are adaptations, right? Like, he very rarely does something that's for the screen only, right?
Yes, when he writes, it's pretty rarely for the screen only. He doesn't do a ton of it.
So he definitely doesn't always write the screenplay himself either, I feel like. I feel like he's definitely got out of that habit.
More often than not, he doesn't.
And this was 85, so yeah, was he coked out at this point too?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, so he actually has a whole bunch of really good movies. Carrie, The Shining. This is actually just in order of his adaptations, not necessarily written by him. Carrie, The Shining, Creep Show, Cujo. By the way, directed by the guy who directed Cat's Eye, Cujo.
Yeah, this is, in fact, this movie comes after Cujo and right before he did Jewel of the Nile also.
Oh, did he? That's cool.
Yeah.
The Dead Zone, Christine, Children of the Corn, Firestarter, Cat's Eye, Silver Bullet, Maximum Overdrive. That one was full on Stephen King, and that one is, I love it. It's awful. Stand By Me, Creep Show 2, The Running Man, Pet Cemetery. He wrote a piece for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Graveyard Shift, Misery, Lawnmower Man, Dark Half, Needful Things. There is definitely a point when the movies take a downward turn.
I forget how much is his, like,
Shawshank
probably
Redemption, The Mangler.
Like weekly you could tell me one thing is his and I'd be like, oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
Dolores Claiborne, Thinner, The Night Flyer, Apt Pupil, The Green Mile, Hearts in Atlantis, Dreamcatcher, Secret Window, Riding the Bullet, 1408, The Mist, Dolan's Cadillac, Carrie remake, A Good Marriage, Mercy, Cell, The Dark Tower, It, Gerald's Game, 1922, Pet Cemetery, It, Chapter 2, In the Tall Grass,
right,
Dr.
now we're
Sleep,
getting okay.
Salem's Lot remake, and then there's just a whole bunch of other movies that are coming. So,
oh wow, I was gonna try and look through his writing credits, but it's impossible.
It is not possible.
Yeah, I don't have a very readily accessible way to tell you what screenplays he's done. So Hey, that was a good question, though, right?
Yes.
Oh, speaking of a ton of credits, by the way, I'll take this segue. Frank Welker does a whole bunch of the voice work, not the Goblin somehow, but a bunch of the voice work in this film. And if you don't know who Frank Welker is, he is by far maybe the most credited. Actually, I can't say that. Of all of the IMDb pages I've seen, he's the most credited man at 870. But yeah, he's just been in that business for literally ever. You know Frank Welker. If you don't know, you know.
Here you go. By the way, here is your screenplays by Stephen King.
Oh. I'm gonna regret every minute of this. All right. Hey, what the heck? We're not even like halfway through this, right?
Get ready to regret. This is going to be in alphabetical order. Cat's Eye, the film Cell, based off of his novel, which is about cell phones. It's got John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. Oh. It's literally about people answering their phones and then they go crazy.
That was not the Cell I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, not Cell like is in sell, buy, sell.
No, I thought it was going to be Jennifer Lopez, the 2000.
Oh, no, that's a great movie.
Anyway, sorry.
Creepshow, of course. Stephen King's Desperation. A Good Marriage. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, me neither.
Maximum Overdrive.
Heard of that.
Michael Jackson's Ghosts.
What the heck is that?
Pet Sematary, The Shining miniseries.
Oh, he did do the screenplay for Pet Sematary? Oh, that's got to be his highest profile, the one that's done the best or whatever.
Yeah, probably. The Shining miniseries, Silver Bullet, which we just watched. Love it. Don't care. Gary Busey.
You say that in a way that it might not be good, but you love it, don't care.
No, okay, it's Gary Busey and Corey Haim in a wheelchair.
Oh, so it is good. Never mind.
But Corey Haim's wheelchair gets tricked out, so it becomes basically a car. That and yeah, it's based on Cycle of the Werewolf, which I do actually very much so recommend. There's a very cool hardback of Cycle of the Werewolf that has some great art to it. It's very cool, and it reads a little bit more like a children's book as opposed to just the short story that it is. Sleepwalkers, also a movie I really enjoy. Not a good movie.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
And the 1994 Stand miniseries, which has a bunch of high points and a bunch of low points.
Yeah, I feel like the Stephen King miniseries episode could be I mean, any one of those shows could be its own thing, I'm sure. For even the Stephen King missteps, I feel like people could go on and on about. So
there are I think the only movie of his that I can outright say, like, it's just such a departure and it was so badly done. Like, every point you could have just missed completely was the Dark Tower. That Dark Tower movie was really, really awful. And
did you finally watch that? Actually, I don't think I knew that you finally gave that a shot.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I don't talk about that. It's like, it's legitimately a terrible film. It doesn't have like it's just bad. It doesn't do anything for any of those characters, and for a cast that could have been good, it wasn't.
I enjoyed it just fine, but I mean,
it's garbage.
I have none of the cred to make that claim.
Go read The Gunslinger.
Right.
And then try to tell me that any of that movie had anything outside of some names. Like,
yes, in fact, that might have been part of our conversation, because I think it was just the rest of the show where I mentioned that I had seen it, but I think part of that conversation might have at least ended up at, I liked the movie. It just shouldn't have been a Dark Tower movie. Should have been something else.
Call it something else.
And was something else.
Yeah.
Apparently, so.
Yeah, that movie there's not nearly enough time in the wastelands. Like, it's stupid. Yeah, that movie's bad.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, there's a little bit of a Stephen King show for you, along with Cat's Eye, which I would still give, after all of that, everything's been said and done, 37 stars.
Out of 39.
So if that sounds interesting to you, it's probably for free on the internet, or should be. If it isn't, email us at podcast@bookclubformovies.com, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Matt,
Yeah.
do we know what we're doing next week?
I don't have a dang clue.
I mean, I know we are trying to do Hawkeye. I'm just not as far along in the reading as I want to be.
Yeah, I haven't even started what I wanted to read for that. I mean, really,
I
I'm
didn't know
not,
you were going to read some. Okay.
I'm not reading a ton for it. I'm just going to read the Kelly Thompson stuff, the Kate Bishop stuff.
All right. So that's on the horizon for anybody that's curious.
I don't really need a whole bunch of Clint background.
I thought much of the same.
It's not that I don't want it. It's that I'm not concerned about it so much as Kate is the future. Clint is not.
Yeah, most of what I'm reading centers around Kate, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you wanted to go into Clint, you'd be there for freaking ever anyways, you know.
Right,
like-
and that's my issue is that he's not a character I want to spend that much time with. In comic form.
I just have come into him a little bit in. I've been reading the stuff on Echo, the stuff on Barney Barton,
Yes.
and the stuff on Kate, obviously. So I get a lot of Clint, obviously, and have maybe this is just because the most recent thing I read was the Fraction Aja stuff, and that
Sure.
lives up to every little tiny bit of the hype. That was such a fun book. But yeah, yes, absolutely. Okay, so Hawkeye in 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. But next week, okay, so I've got a suggestion, an incredibly left field suggestion.
I like it.
But this is going to bleed in also to the rest of the show because I did watch some things that I was going to mention real quick. And one of those was Sing Street. Did you ever end up seeing that?
No.
Sing Street is fantastic. Honestly, I just wanted to shout it out as being very good because I'm sure I talked about it a bunch the first time I watched it. But it made me want to revisit all of John Carney's stuff because he's also made maybe my favorite romancer. I feel bad even calling it a romance, but one of those movies of all time, which was Once. I don't know if you've seen that.
Sound?
Wow.
There's a name.
You got to see that. You would recognize Falling Slowly, maybe, the song from that. Or not.
Who's in it?
Nobody you know. Well, Glenn Hatzard, maybe. I feel like he's made a go in several arenas, but the girl I haven't seen since.
How do you not know Martika or Glova?
Glad I didn't try and say it because I was going to go with Marquetta for a second.
Oh, no,
there.
I think you're right. Marquetta. Yeah.
That's not even the movie I was going to pitch. I mean, if you want to watch Once, I'll watch Once. Like I said, I'm going to go and revisit all my Carneys at this point because Sing Street was so good, and Once is, I'm sure, still so good. But I never saw Begin Again, which was a movie of his starring, strangely enough, Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo. And I think Adam Levine's in there too somewhere. But
Ugh.
probably shouldn't have mentioned that.
Nope. That guy was
All of Maroon 5, just doing the whole. They do like the soundtrack where the camera pans over to them and they're playing in the movie as the band. It's great. Are you kidding?
It's got Kate Bishop in it though.
Oh, no kidding. Does it really?
Haley Steinfeld's in it, and Catherine Keener's in it. I love Catherine Keener. I mean,
there's plenty of good people in it, and like I say, I trust John Carney enough. I'm gonna watch his stuff.
I got a little bit
so
of a crush on Catherine Keener. Always have.
yeah.
Rob Morrow. I love to be a good Rob Morrow.
So I don't know. I mean, we can do Begin Again. I've never ever seen it before ever, or we can do Once, one of the bona fides, forevers.
CeeLo Green is in it. I think actually the Goody Mod is in it, but his name is Troublegum.
That works.
Yeah.
Or you can turn all of that down. I don't know. Came across my desk.
No, we can do this. You want to do this?
You want to try The Unknown?
This actually is very familiar. I remember this trailer. I remember seeing this.
I think I have seen the trailer too. Yeah, but I
Yes.
never ended up watching it myself.
I'm on a fairly good Keira Knightley high too after Silent Night. So
All right. Hey,
I'm sure you'll hate her in
There you
this
go.
too and think that the story is, I don't understand why why would they do that? Nothing makes sense.
from a cinematic perspective,
This is just irrelevant to the story.
what a loser. So come back next week for Begin Again, the 2013 John Carney written and directed. And if you really want to do your due diligence, watch Sing Street, watch Once for gosh sakes. And I'm sure I'll bring it up over and over and over because he does have a signature. I love his signature. I'll just leave it at that for now. So come back next week for that. Matt, do you have any rest of the show stuff?
I can give you a couple if you want them.
Yeah, go for it. I've got maybe one more besides Sing Street, which I already talked about. So
I can match your one more.
Okay, all right. I might have two, so keep one in your pocket.
I can match two, baby.
Well, Matt,
don't.
Can you do three?
I can.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. You want to go?
Name it in three.
Name it in three. So I watched this movie called Escape Room.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's got Deborah Ann Wall in it. From Daredevil, she played Karen Page. And
right.
There's somebody else in it too, I think, that's kind of somewhat famous. But the movie is totally a group of people get invited to an escape room, and the escape rooms are going to try to kill them. So they've got to figure out how to get through. It's actually kind of a more modern day take on the movie Cube, which, if we're being honest, Cube does it better, but this does it with a bigger budget and kind of different, like it's got that different feel to it. I gotta say, I actually enjoyed the flick. It's silly, but you watching it is totally one of those like, okay, well, I understand the concept of escape rooms, so how are they going to do that? And to see how they turn the rooms into death traps that are, slowly building death traps in some way based on each little thing they do or don't do is interesting. There's one part where I think it does seriously jump a shark. Not literally, because but almost figuratively.
That was my next question.
There's an entire, there's one room, and it's like the second room maybe, that is like freezing cold. There's ice that you can skate on. There's ice like underneath, and there's water. There's enough water to be like the whole thing. That one didn't make sense. Every other room also, there's another, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, none of these rooms make sense, but they're all really fun.
Escape rooms, more like.
Yeah. It was a cool little flick. I enjoyed it for what it was. I like Deborah Ann Wall a great deal. I kind of have a crush on her too. Whatever. A lot of crushes. I got a lot of crushes on a lot of people. All right. So yeah, Escape Room, super fun. It was silly. There's a sequel. Okay. I'll watch that sometime in the next coming weeks.
Oh. Have they?
It's called Escape Room 2: Tournament of Champions.
Okay. Maybe this is why I've heard of it. It's turned into one of those maybe perpetually sequelable.
It's no Purge.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. I'm getting that vibe from it.
I don't know that they'll go that far with it. I think this one is definitely like we're with Saw has that kind of another good one. Right. There's the overarching thing with it where it's just kind of a personable situation. This is very much like escape rooms are in the zeitgeist right now. People really enjoy them, and I think they're kind of on the way out even to a degree. Yeah. So I don't see these movies, like I don't see this. I don't know that there'll be another one. You know what I mean? Like,
gotcha. All right.
It was fun though. They're silly.
All right. I'll look it up on IMDb. That's my promise to you.
You can watch it. It's very watchable for you.
Okay. Hey, as far as second movies go on this year, rest of the show, this one might be a doozy. But honestly, I don't have a ton. Like I know we have quite possibly a cow volleyball live on the horizon, so I'm saving some for that. And I know you're saving some for the newsletter. Not to steal any of your thunder there, but
no, you will not. Don't worry.
But this one, for as much as I want to say about it, I think I can just get it out of the way quickly, even though it is No Time to Die, the most recent James Bond.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Watched it?
Not yet.
It's a good one of those.
You know what's hilarious, though? Beth has never seen GoldenEye, and we watched that the other day because I was just like, I was seriously just looking for something to put on, and it was on Amazon. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to put that on. I haven't seen it in forever, but it's a great background. Dude, that movie is so cool. It holds up.
That's like very something to put on movie. I will have to rewatch it maybe to see where I stand on that. Because I remember last time I rewatched that, it was very much in the, this is the thing the game's based on. And then I watched it and was like, this doesn't, I think I probably came at it from the wrong angle with that. But
it is not I guess the way I look at GoldenEye is like Brosnan fell into a he truly is like literally almost this in between Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton James Bond, where he's kind
not
of
chronologically
no
Bond heads out there. Come on.
Kind of serious, but it's still really jokey. And that GoldenEye is no different. Like, people remember that as being this like high quality like Casino Royale,
No,
but a little.
Dude, it's the 90s. Come on.
It was goofy as hell. There's an entire sequence where he is meeting Q, and there's a guy that gets stuck in a phone booth. Like things are exploding around him, and Q's like, thanks to me, the pen is mightier than the sword. It's ridiculous. It's amazing.
It's funny because that is my Bond,
Yes,
ostensibly.
he would be
Those
your
are the
Bond.
ones from when we grew up. And I have yet to really go back and kind of fall in love or reevaluate that very particular series of Bond films. So that'll be interesting someday. Can you hear the leaf blower?
I can, yes. I have
Good.
a very, very deep love for the James Bond series. It's one of my. I grew up with like one of the first beta videos I ever saw was Dr. No. It was like
Nice.
My dad had every book. It was like our books, our bookshelves were lined with Ian Fleming and Arthur Conan Doyle. Like, we had every movie. And when I grew up, of course, for me growing up, it was Roger Moore, because that was Moonraker and Jaws, and those characters were so like out of this world and ridiculous. But Sean Connery was always my favorite. He was the best Bond. It's so funny. It's like
still with the leaf blower. Okay,
yeah. So I have a really like
who knows how this will get edited, but
strong affinity for James Bond, and Brosnan was the first one I got to see in the theaters on my own, and I remember like seeing GoldenEye. There's a whole story behind it, and it was great. But I can tell you that his movies absolutely get progressively worse. Tomorrow Never Dies, still really good.
You know what's weird?
But
I think I might like The
World
Die
Is Not
Another Day?
Enough and Die Another Day are not good.
I think I might like Die Another Day better than last I watched them. Anyways,
World Is Not Enough is just straight trash. That's if I remember, that's Christmas Jones, Denise Richards, really bad. That whole movie was just bad. Die Another Day, that's the one with, is it he can't, the guy can't feel anything anymore?
Asian dude with diamonds on his face, I want to say, like a diamond bomb goes off. I don't know.
That's,
like I've said, haven't rewatched.
Die Another Day, World Is Not Enough, neither of those. Maybe The World Is Not Enough was the guy with the I can't think of his name either. Robert Carlyle. But no, I have not seen No Time to Die, and I actually haven't seen the one right before that either, which I can't remember
interesting
which one that is.
I see I've touched a nerve now, so this may have been a bad idea to talk about in a short amount of time. But I will say I was, at least, I don't know if I was concerned, but I did entertain the thought of going through and watching all the Daniel Craig ones, at the very least from Quantum, I think, because Casino Royale is kind of more of a prequel, like a set in the stage thing, even though it might be my favorite of the Craigs,
Yeah, it's amazing.
I feel like you can kind of skip it and just go with Quantum to get the whole Spectre thing. I think that's where they first start to show up anyways, but
yes,
I never got the feeling they had, a grand plan from the start. This is all kind of retroactively. I will say that after not doing that and watching this latest one, I don't feel like I was missing out on anything. I remembered enough. I would definitely watch the one before you watch this one.
Spectre, and that's what it is. It's Spectre, I think.
And I think that's a very good one as well. I want to say that did quite well.
Yeah, I never saw it.
But also is good. So this is another good one is all I was really going to say, but
Sure.
Maybe we'll save it for when you do watch it or catch up, and we can have a longer Bond conversation, which it seems like we could do.
We could. I mean, the thing is, like, so Bond is kind of one of those, out of the 26 movies, I think there's 26. I've not seen 2. And then the rest of them are just varying degrees of like how I'm feeling on a given day, kind of. But like there are ones that are certainly like it's an interesting discussion because we can break it down a bunch of ways. We can break it down by bonds. We can break it down by era. We could break it down.
Yeah, it's a cultural phenomenon. Like it's the first MCU, you could say, even. Like it's just, yeah, there's endless amounts.
Here's the one thing I can say that is the controversy to all controversies. Connery is my favorite Bond. I think Craig is probably the next best Bond. Pierce Brosnan was the suave Bond. Roger Moore was the goofy Bond. Timothy Dalton was the overly overconfident, kind of too serious Bond.
Sure.
But I still think the actual best Bond movie is On Her Majesty's Secret Service with
I have seen that just once, but there's no way I could tell you because I watched all of those like in a row. So I have very little ability to tell the difference between. I know that's a Roger Moore one. I'm pretty sure.
It's not.
Right?
It's George Lazenby.
No? Oh.
That's
crud!
Actually,
you chose the Lazenby one
because
Jeez, okay.
Yes. So the Lazenby, and I was killing myself. I could not remember it. So that movie actually, it is, I think, the best Bond movie, best story, and most interesting stuff occurs in that movie. Like, you don't realize. Go watch that and realize that every movie since has taken stuff from that film. His wife being killed, that movie. The whole family crest. Like so much stuff comes from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And Lazenby was a great frigging Bond, and he looked great. He was a good looking man. I think he had the charisma, and he just didn't do it again.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but there's apparently a pretty good documentary on him or by him or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Can't remember.
Yeah, no, it's the movie I think is legitimately the best of those, especially the early Bond movies. Great movie.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say something good about Timothy Dalton with that lead up. So.
Oh, I can give you something good about Timothy Dalton.
I do enjoy him more than apparently other people.
Those Bond movies are great. Wasn't
he another oneer or two at the most?
He did two. He did The Living
Daylights
and
License to Kill.
License to Kill.
Yeah. Wow. Can't believe I got that. So that's our quick few minutes on James Bond and No Time to Die. It's a good one of those to go watch. Yeah. Oh, in fact, I just realized I'm getting Spectre and Skyfall confused, I think. You've seen Skyfall, but not Spectre.
I've not seen Spectre. I may not have seen Skyfall either. Actually.
Oh, wow. So I'm kind of jealous of you, actually. You've got a great...
I've only seen I've seen Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, so you basically have the new Blofeld trilogy to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's James Bond. That's all I had to say. Did you want to throw a second in there for you?
No, I mean, I can if you want me to, but no.
Do it, man. What the heck? This by the time I'm done cutting out all the stupid stuff, this show's only going to be like 30 minutes long.
All right. So did I talk about Cop Shop yet?
Not on the show, I don't think.
So
like a weird movie for you to watch.
I have been into I've been going down weird rabbit holes lately for what I truly don't know why. One of the rabbit holes that I'm going down, I will tell you, is I'm going to be putting on in the Patreon, in the newsletter. You'll get the excerpt on the Patreon for free for everybody. I'm going down a weird rabbit hole right now of like sci-fi futurism movies and all that.
But hence the screamers.
Yes, but I'm also going down this weird crime movie rabbit hole thing where I don't remember even how it got started. I think actually it came from I've been wanting to watch The Town for just like months. It's finally on Netflix, and I started it, and then Beth was like into it, and then she passed out and wanted to finish it, so I had to turn it off. Anyways, so I was looking for crime movies, and Frank Grillo came up, and then I saw, oh, Frank Grillo's in this movie with Gerard Butler, and I like both of those guys. It's called Cop Shop. Sure, why not?
I remember now. Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's silly. I enjoyed it for what it was. It's a what's his name? David Ayer movie. And
what else did he direct? Sorry, okay. Poor guy.
Oh man, it's not his fault. James Gunn knows how to Suicide Squad better. It was a cool movie though. Yeah, it's like totally a Frank Grillo is on the run from the mob, and the mob has sent Gerard Butler, and so it becomes a back and forth between them in jail cells, and then there's the cops that are kind of in between them. It was cool. It was a fun flick that if you enjoy a kind of a simple crime movies and you like those guys, you'll dig the movie. It's nothing. There's no real like deep depth here. You're not going into this and going to come out go, wow, man, David Ayer is like a real Michael Mann. It's not that. It's not. This isn't Heat, but really fun, super enjoyable. So yeah. Cop Shop.
I like it when Gerard Butler does a good thing. In the good things I see Gerard Butler in, it's quite good.
It's rather good, Gerard Butler. It's rather good. I'm sorry, it's right. Joe Carnahan, not David Ayer. Joe Carnahan. I've been so wrong.
Oh,
replace
our apologies
David Ayer
to Joe Carnahan
with Joe Carney.
Sheesh.
It's still the same thing. Say it's a Joe Carnahan movie. If you like the A-Team Smoking Aces, it's that movie. Boss Level.
Yeah, we just did Boss Level. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really liked it. I really like Gerard Butler. I mean, especially when he's doing movies like that.
Yeah, like Rock and Rolla, man.
Rock and Rolla. He's so good. I love that movie.
There you go.
I haven't watched. Did you ever watch the movies where he's supposed to save the president?
Yeah.
The Olympus is falling, and
some angel is falling.
That's the newest one, I think, right?
No. No, I did not.
Yeah, I've never seen those either.
The last thing of his I watched was the submarine movie, which was Hunter Killer. It's about submarines. It's called Hunter Killer. You're like, oh, this couldn't be bad. And then it was. And
it had Gary Oldman and Common and Linda Cardellini.
Which one was that?
Hunter Killer.
Oh, what? Really? So that sounds great. I'll have to turn that on.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes.
I do have the movie. So somebody recommended, they said if I liked Cop Shop, to check out this movie called Den of Thieves. So that's also on my list of things I'll be watching in the near future. That is
so come back for that, which
Gerard
will likely show up on a rest of the show thing, or like I said, that Kyle volleyball live episode that we're going to do, much like the television volleyball episode that we did live a week or two ago, which is on the main feed. Yeah, you've listened to this, you heard that. So
yeah, thanks for everybody who came to play and join us. That was a lot of fun. We will do more.
Yeah, had some live feedback from some attendees that were able to give us some valuable information about some of the TV shows we were talking about. So all of that's available at bookclubformovies.com or Facebook and Twitter. Come say hi, whatever. We'll see you next week for when we do begin again and find out if it's any good.
Bye!